Hello world, welcome to the 231st climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I'm on the first day's battle. I like hanging out on this side because it's near my house and everything. And it's a nice place to be. You know, the battlefield is wonderful. It needs trees, but they're not about to do that at all. So, let me see, this is April 27th, 2023. The next protest will be on May 5th, 2023. That'll be number 232. This is number 231. So last Saturday was Earth Day. We were down at the protest. Tanya and I were in Washington, D.C. 1,200 people showed up. This is the nation's capital, so understand. They should have had 50,000, not 1,200. It's not our fault. The fault is with everyone else, but those who showed up. And it's, you know, it's what is what it is. People just don't want to participate, and they think things are going to keep going along fine, and they're not. And that's just the way it is. It's just going to get worse and worse. And we're in the middle of a mass extinction event right now. And people fail to realize that. And you wouldn't know it based on the media and lack of participation there for that. So down there were fantastic speakers. They had a ninth grader talking. She did a wonderful job. Really rallied everyone. Great speaker. A lot of composure. And then two girls that were probably in fifth grade. They gave speeches as well. And you can tell by their voices who is who and the difference between the two, but they're fantastic speakers. And then the band led the way for the protest. They gave us, rally stuff during the protest at the Plaza, Freedom Plaza in D.C. And they led the way for the protest, and it was really awesome. They were really a fantastic band. So we started marching towards the White House. It was probably, if you went straight across, which Joe Biden could have, or his administration people, they could have gone straight across. It's probably about 500 yards away, you know, at the most, somewhere in there. No one showed up from the White House, no representatives, no Joe Biden, no Kamala Harris, no nothing. Congress, the Capitol building was literally a mile away the opposite direction, and no one showed up from there. And there are 435 members of Congress in both parties, and none of them showed up. None of their staff. So you're probably looking at a couple thousand people that could have showed up at the rally, made a speech or done something saying what their plans are and everything to help us get out of this extinction event. There are no plans. The plans are to continue to make money, and this is where they stand. And they're going to continue to subsidize the oil and gas industry, and there are no plans to get us out of the situation. And the American public fails to realize that and see how dire the situation is. I've been talking about this for 230 of these protests. This is number 231. And things haven't changed. They're just getting worse and worse and worse. And I'll tell you about that in a second. So the 1,200 people that did show up were really awesome. I mean, fantastic people, fun to hang around with. We gave a couple Earth flags away, which was really nice. There should have been 50,000. Now, meanwhile, across the pond, over across the Atlantic in London, Extinction Rebellion had 60,000 people there each day for 4 days. They had 4 days of protest, 60,000 each. 200 organizations were involved. So they're getting it over there. Here we're not. They experienced temperatures of 104, woke everyone up, and they're not so in your face, lay down on the road stuff for the first 4 days. Now, they gave Parliament a ultimatum to come up with a plan, or we're going to start making things worse and worse there. And now they're blocking roads and things like that. And you got to do what you got to do to save yourself as far as this extinction event goes. So if you look online on YouTube, it's called The Big One, day 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's on YouTube, and it's really interesting to look at. Fantastic speakers. I couldn't say enough about these people. The British people are educated about climate change. They're really smart about what's going on. And if you listen to them versus United States people being interviewed by the media after a tornado or whatever, you can hear a big difference as far as intellectual ability. So their education system must be much better than here. It's really sad to say that, but their education system is far superior to ours. Their speakers, ordinary people, are better than what I do, and I prepare for these things. So right now, the oceans are the hottest ever, okay? It's holding a lot of heat. It's holding a lot of carbon dioxide. It doesn't hold as much oxygen because it's so warm, so animals are dying as a result of that. The El Nino event is threatening to come forth and to vent off a lot of this heat. And what you're going to experience then at that point is a lot of a spike in temperatures. And that leads to other feedback loops, such as loss of sea ice, loss of Arctic ice, loss of Antarctic ice, less albedo, which means the sun absorbs into the Arctic Ocean and Antarctic Ocean down there. And it's going to get warmer and warmer. And the real risk we're running is peat bogs drying out, which leads to fires, the taiga drying out, which leads to fires, and also the permafrost thawing. And that vents off more carbon dioxide and methane, which leads to more heating. So what has been happening lately is when an El Nino event happens, you have La Nina events, then the El Nino spikes the temperature, okay? So what happens then after that is the La Ninas tend to be higher than the previous El Ninos, and the temperature keeps going up. Then we have another El Nino, and then the La Ninas catch up, and the temperatures get hotter and hotter. Well, if this happens this time, we could be in big trouble. I mean, this could be it. It could be a serious situation with feedback loops, and people have no idea about what's happening. They're not paying attention, and they're not checking out world news, and the media is severely culpable in all this situation as far as not reporting what's happening concerning climate change. They are going along with the administration, whichever administration is. I'm not blaming Joe Biden. I am blaming Joe Biden's administration, but I'm also blaming Donald Trump's administration. Barack Obama was horribly sinister doing one thing, such as laying more pipe around the United States, which is equal to going around the whole world. And bragging about how we became the #1 exporter or producer of oil and gas. So the Barack Obama administration and the George Bush administration before that, we've had a succession of horrible administrations, and the fault is in the voters themselves. You know, if I say I'm going to vote for a third party, they say you're throwing away your vote. That's not the case. What I say to them basically is that I'm not throwing away my vote. You're throwing away your life by voting for these kind of people. They're psychopaths at this point. They have to know what's going on. They know what's happening as far as the extinction event and what kind of track we're on as far as going extinct. And this is crazy. I mean, you have to know we're going extinct, okay? The background rate of death right now, extinctions, is 10,000 times what is normal, okay? Animals and plants and everything else are going extinct at 10,000 times the background rate. The background rate means what you would normally expect in a yearly extinction or whatever, or every 10 years. We're going 10,000 times faster than what is normal. Okay, this is the fastest extinction rate ever out of the previous 5 extinction events, okay? This is nuts what's happening, and we're authorizing more and more projects for drilling for more oil and not getting off of oil. East of town here, they're building a gas station. They tore down a whole forest to build a gas station, okay? Not electric station, not anything progressive or anything like that, not a mass transit station or anything. They ripped down a forest to put in a gas station. Gas stations last 20, 30, 40 years. That's not going away. There's no moratorium on gas stations in this country at all being built. Oh, you can do whatever you want. You're an entrepreneur, do whatever you want. This is insane behavior, what's going on. Our public has lost their freaking mind and not protesting what's happening and are uninformed as to what's happening. They need to take a cue from Europe as to what's happening and how to respond to that. So the oceans are the hottest ever. Carbon dioxide is the highest ever. It's at 424 parts per million and higher, okay? 424.84 is the record, or 87 or something. That's where we were last week. And it'll keep going up until mid-May, and then finally the trees kick in and bring the carbon dioxide down until next year. But the significance of it is 424 parts per million is way past the safe zone of 280 parts per million, okay? That's what it was before the year 1750. At that time, things didn't change that much, okay? That was what the carbon dioxide level was for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, tens of thousands, okay? Below 280, not 350. Don't believe this 350 stuff that people are putting out either. That's not safe, okay? That leads to feedback loops, and we're going to go extinct anyway at that rate. 280 is the safe zone. We're at 424 and going up. 4 points per year now it's going up. It's crazy what's happening. China's brought equal to 2 coal plants online last year. Every week, not just for the whole year. Every week they're putting 2 coal plants online. There's so much heat going in the oceans right now. It's equal to 7 atomic bombs in heat, Hiroshima bombs, going off per second. 7 atomic bombs in heat going into the ocean. That's how much the oceans are saving us. Eventually, the oceans will no longer take in the heat and vent off carbon dioxide and this heat. And we're in big trouble because no longer absorbing and the heat in the atmosphere is a big problem. Right now, as the atmosphere gets cleaned up, we're going to lose the aerosol masking effect, which is pollution in the atmosphere. We have to get through it and get rid of pollution in the atmosphere, but it's saving us right now because the particulates are reflecting sunlight back into space, which is what snow used to do, okay? Particulates in the atmosphere have taken the place of snow. So this is how crazy things are getting. We're rooting for, air pollution to save us. So once that gets cleaned out, then temperatures also spike. At some point, the temperatures get so high that the clouds no longer form. Okay, then you got total runaway greenhouse heating effect. Everything goes way out of control, wacko. Okay, feedback loops, and feedback loops. So we're running a horrible risk to all life on Earth, and we're going to have trouble surviving. And I mean, before I die. Okay, there's a good chance that I'm going to be seeing this whole mass extinction on a grand scale as to what's happening. But it's not a big deal, right? So the Biden administration is going the wrong direction. They leased off the size of Italy an area for drilling. They leased this off. And amongst the previous 80 million acres that they leased off in the Gulf of Mexico earlier in their administration. Okay? They authorized the Willow Project in Alaska. You don't know anything about this, probably. That'll pump out 180,000 barrels a day of oil, okay? And that'll go on for 30 years. This is crazy what's happening. This, plus the destruction of the environment up there. But that pales in comparison to the extinction event that we're being thrown into headlong. Okay, the subsidies to the oil companies continue, and I don't know what it is. It's something crazy, unfathomable. It's like $1 million a second, or $11 million a second in subsidies to the oil industry around the world. Okay, this is insane what's going on. Right now, the new proposal for discretionary spending for the Biden administration is $1.1 trillion for the military, the Veterans Administration, and police. $1.1 trillion. Whatever that looks like, I don't know. But out of that, they're only going to give $44 billion to fight climate change, okay? Whatever that means, okay? They're fighting climate change. I don't know what that means. I don't see it happening. I don't know what that means at all. But anyways, take them at their word. $44 billion to fight climate change versus $1.1 trillion. That is 4% of the amount of what they're using for war to go kill other countries or other people around the world. Understand this. We're giving 4% of our money to save ourselves, and the other 96% is going to war machines, okay? We're spending, just for the military itself, it's like $878 billion. China's doing $260-some billion. Russia, who we're petrified of, does $44 billion a year. So we're doing $870 billion or $880 billion for the military. Russia's doing $44 billion. They're doing the same amount as we do for climate change. That's it. So it's very minuscule. The United States is spending 4 times the amount China does on the military. And we're all paranoid about what the Chinese are up to. It's going to scare me and they're going to do something. Look, we can blow up the world 40 times over, no problem. We got submarines, we got airplanes, we got missiles, we got this, we got that. Who knows what the hell we have? Lasers, scalar devices, I don't know. But anyways, my point is, we're focused on war. The media's focused on war all the time. They're in collusion with the administrations rather than calling them out and going, hey, aren't we in an extinction event? Isn't that kind of more of a priority than military and killing some brown person 8,000 miles away on a bicycle? Our country is nuts, okay? Going along with these type of people, these psychopaths in charge who are hell-bent on killing us for whatever reason, I don't understand it because they have kids and grandkids, but their activities are psychopathic, okay? This is insane what's happening, all right? Spain and Portugal right now are over 100. We're over 100 degrees, 101 degrees, 38 degrees Celsius plus. Down south in the United States, we're having tornadoes again, again and again and again and again. Tornadoes. Deluges of rain in the Midwest. Now we're going to get some here over 3 days. We're going to get 2¼ inches of rain. It's going to cause a flooding situation, especially if some of the air just sits on top of you. The weather, or the rain just sits in one spot and just keeps dumping, okay? The air holds more water vapor in it now because as it gets warmer, it holds more water vapor. For every 1 degree Celsius increase in temperature, you get a 7% increase in water vapor. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. It can be a huge deluge comes down on you. Down in Texas, they just had grapefruit size hail. Grapefruit, okay, 4 inches across. You know the amount of updraft that has to be to keep that aloft and have it go up and down, and gather more and more ice as it goes around. It's insane what's happening with the environment. So we got floods in the Midwest right now. The Mississippi River, upper Mississippi, is flooding, and it's going to lead to more flooding down south. The far west is experiencing massive floods because they've had these 14 atmospheric rivers that dumped a huge amount of snow into the mountains, and now it's starting to melt because of massive heating. It's cooler here. It was 89 degrees. I talked to you last week, and now it's 64 degrees. It's going to be 59 for a couple days, and then back up to 68. The average high here is supposed to, in Gettysburg, I think it's supposed to be 72 every day. So someone somewhere is warming up severely, and I think it's the West. And that could be a real problem because all that snow that has come, some places got 50 feet of snow, if not more. And so all that snow has to go somewhere. It's going to go downstream and go and flood places out, such as agricultural regions. So not only do you have the drought situation was killing everything, then you had the flooding that's going to kill everything off. We're going to have trouble getting food, okay? You think you just go to the grocery store and get whatever. If you go to the freezer section, some of your stuff is not available anymore. Check it out. So there's not much else to say about these non-caring maniacs, these people in politics. And they all become maniacs when they get down there. They choose to follow suit and worry about getting elected for the next election rather than trying to do the right thing, all right? So this is a cataclysm that's going on. This is a climate catastrophe, cataclysm, and extinction event that's happening right now. And I really recommend you start putting the pressure on your own party. It's up to you. I wasn't going to put pressure on people to do whatever, do the right thing. You know what to do, though. And if these maniacs stay in charge, we have no chance of surviving. Okay? You can think your guy is this and your guy is that, or that woman is this and that woman is that. No, they're all psychopaths, okay? You need people to speak out, tell the truth as to what's happening, and have some sort of plan as to how to get ahead. But if they don't have a plan, at least they're telling the truth as to what's happening, and they don't go along with these crazy military budgets. They don't go along with subsidies. They don't go along with authorizations of things that are going to lead to death of all life on Earth. Climate change does not stop at your border. It goes global, okay? We're all going to die together. We're all in one lifeboat. And certain countries are just drilling holes in it like crazy in that lifeboat and saying, what's the problem? We like water. You're all going to drown. We're all going to die one way or the other. Okay, so I'll catch you next week. That'll be number 232, May 5th. And have a good weekend. Hopefully some of you will be dead before I talk to you again next week, sadly so.